it's not 67. This is,
This is really cool.
isn't it? This is 71, 69. 69.
1269.
Yes.
Awesome.
And that actually was the one
I think it is.
or 67.
No, 69 was the one that we talked to you about
Okay.
before.
Yeah, when you came in here and I was doing it, yeah, 69.
I promise you guys this is not a fake intro. Welcome to Marathon Mondays with Mal. Everybody say hi to Al Christensen.
Hello.
We are in the design room here for the interior design, and we're going to actually head towards Pete Sutton's office, but it's always cool to see what Al's up to in the interior design. So, Al, thank you again.
Thank you.
We're going to head this way.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, my man.
You betcha.
So, welcome to Marathon Mondays with Mal. I'm Mal Williams with Marathon Coach. And if you have any questions while we are doing this or afterwards, feel free to email me at malw@marathoncoach.com, or feel free to comment right there on Facebook or YouTube. Today, we are going to be talking with Pete Sutton. He's kind of our guru of the paint jobs here at Marathon Coach. Let's go in this back door. Pete's got the cool office because it's got 2 entries. This is the Pete Sutton suite, and that right there is Pete Sutton, everybody.
Yeah, this is me.
This is him. So, thank you for taking the time, Pete.
Yep.
We started over in Al Christensen's office, and he's working on the interior of 1269. But you obviously are working on the exterior of
74.
1274.
Yep.
So I'm standing behind you because we've got multiple cameras going, and I don't want to block them. James Strecker has taken a lot of time and care to get those set up. So before we get into talking about paint, why don't you tell everybody what it is you do? I'm going to go on this other side so you're not looking over your shoulder. I'll stand by the fish. What's the fish's name?
Oh, Mortimer?
Mortimer. Not Dorothy from Elmo,
No.
but Mortimer from Pete Sutton.
There you go.
So tell me, what is it that you do for Marathon? Because I know, but a lot of people don't know how many hats you wear and how integral you are here at Marathon.
I work in the marketing department. We have a team of 4 people, including James behind the camera. And I also do the paint designs. I work directly with Steve Shellhorn, which is kind of a neat setup where the owner of our company takes the paint jobs very personally. And so he wants to see every one. Now that excludes customs.
Sure.
When we have a custom, we have customers come in, I'll work directly with them, and it's what they want.
Okay.
And a lot of people may not know that every single coach we do, every paint job is unique. I mean, we can have people come in and say, hey, I loved a particular paint job, and can I have that one? I want
Right.
to duplicate it. And we will come close, but we'll never copy it. I mean, not unless you own both coaches.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's what I do around here.
So marketing is a big part of what you do, and you prepare all of us on the sales team, and you prepare a lot of the coaches for a lot of events all over the country. A lot of people don't know that. So a lot of people that are watching have probably met Pete, seen Pete at a lot of the events from Indio to the East Coast. So that's a really cool part of what you do, but you wear another big hat, and that's these paint jobs. So I know that you and Steve Shellhorn, our owner, tag team on these and talk about what works best for this coach. But let's talk first about the custom coaches. So tell us that process when a customer comes in and they want to custom order a coach. What is it that you do? What's kind of the procedure?
The first thing that we're looking for is what do they like. So a lot of times, well, we've got pictures all over the walls in the building. We've got 54,000 photos in our photo archive.
So for like inspiration?
Yeah, and the big trick is to find what they like. It doesn't matter to me where it came from, what company, if it's a jet, if it's a competitor, or if it's something off our wall.
Sure.
It gets me the flavor of what they're trying to do, how many stripes, what kind of stripes, are they sharp, are they round? So that's where we start, and then from there we'll work with Al and Brenda on the interior. And as the interior develops, we'll start to pick the colors off the materials to pick out their paint, so that it all goes together.
Okay. So let's talk about the Croc Coach, which is actually right here in the showroom.
Sure.
So the exterior paint mirrors the interior of that coach, or vice versa. The interior mirrors the exterior.
It's definitely mine mirrors Al and Brenda. The Al and Brenda in the design center have a tougher job. They have a lot of materials and colors that they have to balance out. So I look at what they've done, and quite often we'll collaborate on what's the star of the show for the interior. And in that case, the croc pattern stood out. So
yeah.
I've got some neat little tools that I have to try and capture that pattern and turn it into something that we can use in the paint department.
Okay. So why don't you show us what you're doing here?
Sure.
I know James has some multiple cameras set up, but this
one is it's not in the paint department yet. It's very close. I'm just putting some final touches on it. Coach 1274. It's a there we go. I'll have to call Carrie back.
Little reminder.
Yeah. This one Steve's approved, but I'm putting some final touches on it. He usually wants to approve the sides, and then I come in and I will come up with something for the back and the front. In this case, I have got to watch how things wrap.
Okay.
From the sides, like there, I've got dark to light. It doesn't really work that way. You'd actually end up with a ridge, so I've got to go in and change it and make it so that it's actually...
you want it consistent to wrap around?
Yeah, we want it to be able to actually work together with it. So anyway, let's see if we can find out what color I used there. Is it this guy? There he is. So this is more likely what I'll do, because that way we can have the dark color blend around to the back. So there. Once I do this and I get it all done, and as you can see, every one of these stripes is, well, let me show you. We start with this. We actually take a photograph and we trace the bus shell. And periodically we've got to make updates as the shell changes.
Sure.
That's the place from where I start. And this is important.
So this is your clean start.
Yeah, it's a blank starting canvas. The important part is that all of these bay doors and everything are accurate, because when they actually get out there and start running the stripes, they use those corners of the bay doors and things like that in order to tell where to run the stripes.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you looked at this in its raw form, you can see it's nothing but lines. So there we go. Close that out. So anyway, that's what I'm doing at the moment. I've just finished this. The next phase, once I've come up with this, by the way, just so that people can see how this works, if you were to take each one of these stripes, instead of drawing them in like a paintbrush, these, as you can see, they bend. So this is how I work, is I push and pull and stretch until I find what balances out and looks good to me. And then I'll run it by Steve for approval.
That's so cool.
So yeah, I can tug on all sorts of tools to give all sorts of effects to get what I want.
Wow.
So from here, I will take a look at, matter of fact, here on the table in front of me is all of the fabric samples. Let's see, this is 74, so this is Brenda's coach.
Okay, so you are working on your computer on the exterior paint of 74,
yeah,
and you have the interior inspiration pieces.
Yeah, and what's important about this is I can come in here, and in order to match the colors, I've got a cute little tool here that I will actually use to capture like that copper color. I'm going to connect to it right now on my phone.
Wait a minute. All right, explain that to us.
Yeah.
What
this is called a spectrophotometer, and it actually is going to scan the fabric. And I got to scan it 3 times, and it will average the colors. And what it'll do is it will give me There's done. It will give me all the actual readings that I can put into the computer. RGB colors, CMYK colors, and that's how I capture all the colors to make sure they're accurate.
Can I pick this up?
Sure.
Wow.
Just a tiny little goodie.
Now that is a nifty trick right there.
Yeah. So from there, that gets me a lot closer than eyeballing the color in the computer. Steve will approve it at that point.
Okay.
So once we're done with that, I get Andy from our paint department, and he'll come up with me, and we will then look on the screen, look at the materials, and we'll start matching the paint chips to the materials that we've actually got on here. So it's unfortunately, I wish that the software would actually give me a paint code, but they aren't made for automotive paint.
Right.
They're made for the world of digital design. So this is stuff that actually, this is the darkest of the browns. So this is how we will go through and we will pick all the parts that we'll use on the real coach. And then one of the things we've learned is we will then, before this actually goes into the booth, we'll have Andy take a large piece of metal, prime it, and paint these colors larger, and then we'll take it out in the sun. Because since these are metal flake, the colors will change a little bit as you rock it back and forth, and when you hit it with the sun, it changes a little bit. So
Sure.
you need a big enough sample so that you don't get surprised and paint the whole bus, and have something like this color, which right now looks copper, but have it go too orange or
Okay.
too salmon. You know, you don't want to be surprised on a 45-foot long vehicle. So that's what I do.
So once it gets completely approved and done, it goes to paint for about 23 days?
That is correct. In
Okay.
those 23 days, they will prep the body, they will prime it, and then they will actually, the way they do it is they'll look at my design, like the one on the screen over here,
Mm-hmm.
and they will actually, with a roll of tape, two guys will pull and stretch each one by hand with a roll, marking that out, which to me has always been pretty amazing because you've really got to think it through. What color goes down first? What's the easiest way to do it? And some of these colors, remember, you've got to shoot like 2 to 3 layers to get the color. And it's not like it just comes out of the can red. Some of them do, but others, it's like something like a goldish color, and then a red, and then a pearl. So there's a lot to it. The guys put a lot into these paint jobs.
Absolutely. So before, I'm trying to think of what our viewers would want to ask you. And I think they would probably want to ask, how custom can you go, or how custom have you gone?
Most of the custom stuff that we've done in recent years has been more in the textures. We've put a lot of stripes on the buses, which we can go as crazy as you want. We've used up to 128 rolls of tape, putting all sorts of stripes all over the coach, or we can keep it simple and minimalist. But a lot of it comes in finding how do you come up with a texture that's really fun. We've used saran wrap and aluminum foil and all sorts of things to get a really fun texture, and it's how you build it. Do you put silver over black? Do you put silver over black? Do you put gold over it?
Right.
Or do you add candy to it? There's all sorts of things that we do, and some people want something that is going to be hard to beat even for years to come. So those are the fun ones where we get pushed to come up with a real radical design, and then come up with a texture that may be a new creation that we will most likely not duplicate for a while. So we love it when people come in with stuff, and we also love it when people kind of turn us loose to try and do something off the hook.
Absolutely.
Of course, in those cases, the danger, which I can always warn people, is if you go too, I won't say too wild because there's no such thing. If you take something to an extreme, the 23 days, we blow past it.
Right.
that means the delivery date backs up.
Sure.
So there's always that balance for people of, gosh, I want something real exciting and wonderful, but I want to still have it deliver on the same date. Well, then all of a sudden things start getting reeled back in. So it's there's a lot of that. There's also the issue of resale. Sometimes people have something custom and they love blue, and if they had their way, they paint the whole thing solid blue.
Right.
The problem is blue doesn't sell fast.
Yeah.
So what they usually have me do is we'll go into charcoals and silvers and other things like that, and then put hints of blue to try and make it more sellable in 5 to 10 years. So it's we try and take all that into consideration and respect what they want. So if they're not worried about resale value, they're not worried about taking it a couple weeks later, we'll take it as far as they want it.
Absolutely. It's just like when you talk about real estate, you talk about curb appeal, and that purple painted house might not be marketable as a house that is a little bit more mainstream color-wise,
Sure.
I guess you could say. Very cool. So before we go, I know I don't think you knew I was going to ask you this. So you're an artist. You, in your free time, you also do some comic book work. Is that correct? Or
not comic books. James is more the comic book guy. I've done children's art. I do
that's what I'm thinking.
retro
of.
stuff. So yeah, I do all sorts of. To me, it's a way to relax.
And that's what I was gonna ask you about. I've been in the airport with you. I've been here in the office with you. I've seen you casually sitting at your desk on a break or in the break room on a break. I've seen you sitting in the airport, and you use art as a calming effect. You use art to relax, where some people read, some people listen to music. You draw.
That's right.
And I find that fascinating. Is that something that you just picked up, or is that something that...
I can blame my dad for that. He's always been like that, so I picked it up young, and it's always stuck with me, but then it became part of my job, and
Right.
After a while, as with anybody's job, it's like, oh my goodness, I do this all day long, I don't want to do it at home. You go through that cycle, but then you start to realize, well, I still love it, and you start finding it's almost better to draw whatever comes into your mind, whatever whim. So that
show us, because I'm glad you picked up
just
your
so you
iPad.
know, I even do this just even for paint. I'll work out ideas and paint on the tablet. So it's not just for that, but for like home stuff. Oh goodness, what do I got here? Oh well, I could also show you this. We even use it for redesigning the dash. So I'll draw it on the tablet.
That is really
the
cool.
world of drawing in the computer has been really different. So what do I have that's fun? I got stuff like this. I'll doodle around and get into a different program here that's got some more stuff in it. Something like this guy. So this one is just butterflies I was doing
pretty.
for fun. So
Look at the detail in that, though.
yeah, but the funny thing is these are more iconic, more simplistic in form, but I wanted to be able to just literally blanket the page in them eventually. And
That's cool.
so yeah, I've got that, and I've got you were talking probably more. Well, I even do stuff here for work, like if we did one thing
the Turtle
for
Coach.
Yeah, well, this one was for Florida Keys, the rally.
Oh.
I wanted some artwork instead of buying clip art. I just sketched it out. But we've also got stuff like, this is children's art that I'm doing for a children's book.
Oh yeah, this duck. I've seen it. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, things like that. So yeah, this is what I do in my fun time.
Look at that. I love it.
So
Well, and thank you for sharing those with us, because I've seen you do that in the break room, and I've seen you do it in the airport when we were stuck in the airport for several hours together. So that's really cool. I find that really neat that you use your art, you use your talent to calm yourself, just like anyone else would. Read a magazine, read a book, or listen to some music. So
it's kind of like fishing. I've heard it described as a guy's empty box. It's you just start doing something that lets your mind relax.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we really appreciate your time, Pete. Marathon is such a unique product, and you are an example of that. because you wear so many different hats.
I've been called unique.
I have too. So, from the marketing that you do and setting up all the events, and I know you have help with the marketing team because you've got a great team. But, it's like yesterday you did the Wine Wednesdays that you have throughout the summer here at Marathon here in Coburg, Oregon. And then you're getting ready for events like the FMCA event that Greg and myself will be at. You're helping provide supplies for that. And then you got to sit down and do the paint on this coach. So,
yeah, and for those interested in the magazine, we're just getting ready to release that.
That's
that goes
right.
to press tomorrow. That's like now we're up to 74 pages or 72 pages. So yeah, but it is a team. You're right.
The calendar.
Everybody's amazing. The calendar we do.
The calendar.
All in house, and all the videos are done by James. Sarah does most of the graphic design. Of course, Mickey does all the social media and all the writing. Everybody's really good at their job and really fun to work with, and we don't have a normal day ever.
Absolutely, and that's, I appreciate that. I really enjoy working with your department and with you guys because as a salesperson, I like to be a little bit more of a hybrid where I am working with the marketing team because marketing is such a big part of selling.
Yeah.
So I appreciate everything that you guys do to promote the product and your team. It makes our job that much easier. So.
My pleasure.
Well, thank you to Pete Sutton. Thank you to all of you for watching and commenting. Feel free to email me, like I said, at malw@marathoncoach.com. And Marathon Mondays is a fun thing, and we make it better because people like you guys comment and send in your emails and, hey, we would like to see this. Just because we can't get to your comment or your questions right away doesn't mean we don't see them. So please feel free to continue that. So for James Strecker, my man Pete Sutton, and Mortimer over here in the fishbowl, thank you for watching Marathon Mondays with Mal, and we'll see you next Monday. And everyone have a good 4th of July. Woohoo!